All right, what's that line? Know who you're talking to. When it comes to North Korea, this is what we're dealing with over there. A country that had no problem shooting one of its old soldiers in the back. The guy's going to be okay, but man, oh man. And this is what we're dealing with China helping us deal with these North Koreans. Of course, this is a memorable incident from the past. So again, if these are the guys we're talking to get the guys we want who have this weaponry to sort of ease up, you kind of get in the skinny of what's going down. Retired Army Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer. Tony,
hey, Neil.
Neither looks like a duo you could trust, but what do you make of this?
This is, look, this guy showed a great deal of bravery based on the propaganda, Neil, that they give these guys. He was going in a situation where he probably believed the situation in South Korea is even worse than the North. The North portrays the South as if it's a war-torn country that is actually less civilized, if you can believe that, than the North. So this guy took a leap, and I think he's going to, you know, I've run defector operations. I've been through the CIA's defector settlement course and actually worked with these guys. Neil, you know, you heard in the news probably Hillary Clinton said she wanted to be president of another planet. This guy jumped off to a situation where he probably will think he's on another planet. It's going to take about 6 months for him to settle in. It's going to take a lot of therapy.
Now, he survived. We shouldn't say that he survived as he was really badly banged up.
Right.
They're discovering all sorts of health ills he has and parasites and all this. And
tapeworms the size of rattlesnakes, right?
Right. It gives you an inkling of what even the soldiers who supposedly you would think are given the best and the most hurting pups. What do you think?
Right. Well, yeah, look, this guy was one of the elite soldiers in what we call the joint security area. And these also, Neil, remember, these guys are also used, even the elite soldiers are used as actual farm labor during harvest system. That's how small the manpower actually is for these folks. And think about this. This guy is the best fed, the best trained troop they have, and yet he was emaciated. He had all sorts of health conditions, and it just goes downhill from there. It then goes to the conscripts and then goes to the normal people. This is why you've heard stories accurately of families eating pets because they literally have no food to live off of. So this is a reminder of how stark the conditions are for the North Koreans.
Well, they can quickly turn on their own, which makes me wonder, we're negotiating or trying to have a civil conversation with these guys to take them the world off the ledge. But I'm also thinking of China and its past, Tiananmen Square and what have you, that these are the people we're trying to urge get the North Koreans off the ledge. How's that going to go?
Well, look, I don't know if you remember that, Neil, back in the late 80s, a Chinese officer defected right through the same area here. So this is not I mean, the Chinese themselves have had to defect from their government. So the Chinese are equally, I think, hideous regarding the fact that we have to both negotiate with them and hold them accountable. But note, Neil, during the time President Trump was there was no incidents, which tells me the Chinese told UN, don't do anything stupid, which, you know, I think reflects well on the fact that President Trump is trying to put pressure on China to do something. I think if we work this correctly, we can continue to work something called enlightened self-interest. The North Koreans and the Chinese both have interests in maintaining the momentum of their economy. Right. And I think if you remind the Chinese especially that there are going to be consequences should any military effort start, you know, everybody's going to get wet. The Chinese are going to get the wettest, I believe, though.
You know, it's been a couple of months now since they've had a missile test launch, whatever you want to call it, Tony. And I'm beginning to wonder. I know this is the season where everyone goes back on the farm, tries to get the goods and all of that stuff, maybe even these soldiers. And maybe that could explain that. And I also heard these reports that 2 million have lost their lives due to famine there and what have you. Right. Then you got to wonder, they're really up against the wall.
And they are. And the Chinese, I think, has reminded them of the fact that, you know, one of the things on the table, Neil, is limiting the amount of fuel going into North Korea from China. That's a huge issue. I mean, any given time, the North Korean military has about 30 days of fuel, which would limit their ability to conduct any offensive operations. But beyond that, just helping their economy work. So they are the most fragile economy. But again, the great leader, Un, could care less as long as Un is taken care of. But so I think we have to continue to make this personal about consequences to Un regarding his bad acts. And I think the Chinese will continue to have to work on that with us.
Incredible story. I'm glad this guy's going to be all right. But man, oh man. Colonel, thank you very much.
Hey,
Happy
thanks.
Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks.